My name is Dohaniuk. I've been the CEO here with United Way for the last 17 and a half years.
I'm Varner, and I was the CEO of United Way for Kitchener-Waterloo and area before Ron and I became co-CEOs.
Both organizations said that the landscape has changed so significantly for us as organizations, and really the capacities and capabilities that we need aren't the same as they were even 10 years ago, and that coming together would allow us to do more as one organization than we could do if we remained separate. We were able to enhance our capacities and come together and have one voice, as Jan suggested.
Coming together, merger, amalgamations, integration, whatever word you want to give to it, is difficult, and it's usually not cheap to do. What's exciting about the new United Way Waterloo region communities is we're looking at things from the collective region perspective, using the stats that are regional, etc. But we're focused on individual communities that people live in or they work in. So it's a really neat combination.
People are really invested in their own communities, and I think that shifting that to a different perception of a larger community is difficult for some people.
Both organizations were over 75 years old, so how could you still, people say, how would you still be relevant when you were formed 75 years ago? So I think that's a challenge for everyone, is if you've been around a long time, how do you share and communicate that you have changed with the times? People have preset ideas of what you are. Even if you have changed significantly, they still have the image of what you were when they first became involved.
In the public, there is less inclination to trust institutions than what there used to be, and people are a little more skeptical for a lot of reasons of organizations and government, and so I think the challenge for organizations, in particular United Way, is how do we connect with cause? How do we connect with causes that people are interested in? So we need to get our message out there about the causes that are important to people and engage them around that. I think going forward, as we envisioned it going forward, it's about engaging the 7+ communities is the most important.
What we would like is dedication and engagement from the community, because it is their community. Dollars are always needed. That you've got to remember that people sometimes say, well, why aren't you doing this or that? But then they don't give. You can't have it both ways. You can't have expectations of a lot of work without any money.
I think in order to make the transition to a new organization, what I was thinking about earlier was, I think why we were successful, 3 things come to mind. One is that we were clear on what was motivating us. We were clear on what our principles were as separate organizations coming into the conversation. And I would say the other thing that really is that there had to be a certain level of trust between the CEOs and the boards, and that takes some time and some effort to grow to make that happen.
I think the timing was right. I think we needed to do it. Is it easy? Absolutely not. So before you embark on that, make sure you truly understand that. I think the last thing that I would like to say is, and it's not related to United Way per se, but having worked in this not-for-profit sector for 12 and a half years, I have to say I'm excited by some of the things I see, but I'm also very concerned for the sector. It's going through a lot of changes. We're still thinking in the scarcity model that if I get this money, you don't, and that type of thing. And I don't want to be pessimistic, but to me it's similar to what happened with the manufacturing sector. We knew things were changing, but people didn't panic until it was gone. And I just hope that that never happens to the not-for-profit sector. But people need to realize, what do they want their community to be like, and start to have some serious conversations. What do we want the not-for-profit sector to look like, be supported in this community?